Hey guys, this is the Bambu Lab H2C. We just got this in this morning. I was a little surprised it showed up as quickly as it did. Placed the order for it last week when we were at FormNext. Basically, within 10 minutes of it being available for purchase for delivery to the US, got that in. I was surprised they already had it in a warehouse, but here we go. We're gonna go ahead and we're using it for making profiles for PCTG, well, Pro PCTG, Tough Pro PLA Plus, and our standard PLA Plus. That's the main reason we got it, but we'll go ahead and pretty simple unboxing. I'm not expecting anything unusual with this, but you never know. But it's a beast. We'll see how well I'm able to get this out with just one, just with me opening it up. So open up the top here. You've got your normal quick start guide plus some stickers. Then when we open up the accessory box, this has the little toolbox in it, the hot ends. We'll take a look at that more in a second. The spool mount, and I'm assuming these are all of the PTFE tubes, desiccant packs, all that, and that does look correct. So if we open up the nozzles, you can see that we have a 0.2 millimeter, 3.4 millimeter, and 1.6 millimeter hot end. Toolkit I'm expecting is going to be pretty standard for Bambu, where you have the thermoformed plastic insert. We have one spare 0.4 millimeter hot end, so this is going to be for the left hand side of the H2C, the part that doesn't change. And then you've got your cutting blades, the two different lubricating types, a couple of Allen keys, and the nozzle unclogger, as well as a few other things. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this box to the side for now. And if it's a little bit loud while I'm doing this, this is actually in our production facility. That is where I have my desk. That's where I do a lot of the profile development, basically cycling in one printer at a time and then going from one printer to the next. That way, it's very easy for me to be accessing the printer for making those profiles. I'm gonna scoot this forward a little bit. Gonna lift the top off here. Probably would help if I read the quick start guide just to help me unbox this a little bit more effectively. Just gonna open this guy up. Yep, so basically going through all of the different components of the printer. So we're actually gonna go ahead and remove this outer box first. It's gonna make life a lot easier. I know a bunch of you are probably watching this saying, John, you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to undo the plastic tabs and then lift the entire top off. Well, you're right. I was doing it wrong. I'm actually really happy to see that this showed up so quickly. I'm a little bit more excited about what Prusa is doing with the Bondtech Index, but that is something that they announced that we won't really be able to see in person and be able to test for quite some time. So you'll notice here, if I would have just followed the simple instructions on the top of the cardboard, I would have not even needed to check the quick start guide. I'm going to set this behind the camera. Lots of foam, but everything's looking good. Everything looks like it is still in good condition. Gosh, this tape. And then remove the tape from the backside as well. Now I can go ahead and lift this off. Everything seems like it is in pretty good condition. There's one handle there. Set the accessory box off to the side. Another handle here. Oops, hold on, I gotta make sure I'm not hitting the mic too much. Up we go. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and get all of the plastic undone and removed. Look at that, looking good. All of the glass looking intact. All right, gotta lift this guy up here. Over to the side there. Now, remove it all the way. That side, and then on this side too. This is kind of interesting. I haven't really seen this shipped with this before, where it protects the lower corners of the printer. That's a really good idea, because a lot of these shipping companies are very hard. They're very hard on the printers when they're delivering, because they're in a hurry and it's during the holiday season, so everyone wants their stuff as fast as humanly possible. So right now I'm just taking the tape off of this protective cardboard top, which I'm assuming is protecting the glass top. There we go. And I'm just gonna set the glass top to the side for now while I remove everything else. Okay. So removing the protective tape. You know, something else is that this feels like more of a plastic shell rather than being an aluminum shell like I think we have on the H2D and on the H2S. I'm not sure if that is if that's more for weight savings, if that's more for cost reduction, combination of both, I'm sure, or just for better durability. This seems like it's going to be a lot harder to scratch than the metal would be. But looking at the printer overall, you're looking at about the same outer dimensions as the H2D and the H2S. I'm sure that is also a way that Bambu is helping to keep their manufacturing costs a bit lower, is by standardizing around kind of a single type. All right, what is that tape for? Just to hold it's kind of interesting. I think it's just to hold the bottom shell, onto the rest of the printer so it doesn't separate during transit. Okay, there. Almost done with that tape part of things. Now we should be able to open the door and remove this protective plastic sheet. Kind of have to remove it from both sides because I wasn't able to pull this all the way through. Okay. I'll grab a side cutters here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and removing this foam and cardboard insert. Okay, then I think our next course of action is going to be to remove all of the little hex keys here. Or not the hex keys, but the hex screws that are holding the AMS2 into place. So I'm going to go back to that accessory box, grabbing our Allen keys here, and away we go. Probably going to speed this part up. Yeah, and if you're hearing those alarm sounds, every time you hear one of those, that means that there's a spool coming off of one of our production lines. Because we are actually out in the production facility right now. Okay, so 2 screws removed. Got to remove another couple here. You know, it's funny to me how much friendlier the shipping has gotten for 3D printers, just how much more securely everything is held in place, because this was not the case just a couple of years ago. You wouldn't have printers packaged nearly this well, because with so many printers before being kits, it just wasn't even anything that, you know, if something got a little bit damaged in transit, okay, the manufacturer would ship a single replacement part out to you, but you were a different 3D printer user at that time. You had to be more technically savvy. It wasn't a very smooth, out-of-the-box experience like what Bambu has done and started to enable. So still not perfect. I mean, nothing really is, but it's a heck of a lot better than it used to be. Piece of foam. Okay, should be able to lift the AMS straight up now. Up and over. And I am going to set this to the side for the moment, until we can get the rest of the stuff out of here. So, some more foam and more screws. Man, so it looks like there's 4 more screws that's holding this plastic insert in place. You know, it really is too bad that these can't be reused for anything. At least nothing that I'm aware of. But I mean, what's your alternative? The printer ships and gets damaged, or you would have to have the AMS ship in its own box, which it did do in the past, but then your shipping cost goes up that much more, because you're shipping so much empty space inside the printer itself. It'd be a shame if you weren't using that empty space for something like the AMS. Okay, so we got 2 of 4. I'm working on the 3rd one now. Okay, 1 more. I know this is not a terribly interesting thing to be watching. Okay, so gonna set that to the side. And then so many more pieces to remove. All right, I'm gonna take some of this tape off. It's holding things into place. For example, this piece of tape and I think 1 more. Actually, I'm gonna take this foam out first. Another little piece of foam. Another little piece of foam, another little piece of foam. Another little piece of foam, another little piece of foam. Lots of little pieces of foam. Let's see. one piece of tape, two pieces of tape, and this is what's holding the accessory part cooling fan duct in place. All right. Let's see, please remove this tape that's holding the basically the grill up against the air filter on the inside of the printer. Not quite sure what this piece of tape was holding in place. And now to remove the, it looks like 4 screws that are holding the bed in place. Okay. 1 screw down there, 3 to go. Man, everywhere I'm looking around here, there's another piece of tape, there's another piece of foam. I mean, this thing is very, very well packed, which, you know, when you're looking at this vortex system, I mean, it kind of better be. That is one of my bigger concerns about the H2C, is that more moving parts mean more opportunity for something to go wrong and something to break. At least Bambu's parts aren't terribly expensive, and they seem to be reasonably kept in stock. And one of the first 3D printing companies that I had, Fargo 3D Printing, half of our business model for a while was just making aftermarket parts for the MakerBot Replicator 2, because MakerBot was so terrible, well, for a variety of reasons. MakerBot was so terrible at keeping replacement parts in stock that there was no alternative. So it was pretty much us, and I know there are a couple of other small companies that had upgrade and replacement parts too, but something as simple as like ceramic insulation tape. So now all of the hot ends basically come with silicone socks. That wasn't the case back then. So to try and thermally insulate the hot ends, so that it wouldn't lose too much heat, they used a piece of basically ceramic, basically spun ceramic, and then a piece of Kapton tape that went on the other side, or went on one side of it. And the Kapton basically held everything in place and was high temperature enough that it wouldn't break down like a piece of polypropylene tape would. And then the ceramic is what was doing the actual insulating. So, okay. Got this piece of tape on the vortex system, and that piece of tape is holding in another piece of foam. And I'm gonna grab my side cutters right now. I'm gonna undo this one up here. And, ooh, we got a couple of really big ones here that's holding the tool head, kind of holding it in place in the middle of the X-axis gantry, but also holding the X-axis gantry against the back of the printer. So there's one really big zip tie, and now I'm getting the other really big zip tie. There we go. And I'm also going to remove the zip tie on the vortex system. I think there's one on the other side too. So there's one there. Another one there. Now it's able to move around a little bit. So I got that piece of foam out. Looking over here for the vortex, seeing if there's any other foam pieces. I think we are good. And now that we can move the gantry forward, there's a big piece of cardboard on here that is helping to protect the tool head. So I got that taken off. And another piece of foam here. It's kind of holding that in place, and one more piece of foam back here. So really dense foam. I do think that is everything, at least for that part of the printer. So I'm just gonna go behind the camera and make sure that everything is still recording. Yep, everything is still going. gonna go ahead and close this door here. And let's go ahead and put the glass lid on. First, we gotta remove it from its protective cardboard piece here. I really don't want to drop this if I can help it. Okay, set that to the side. Putting the glass lid up on top. Fits pretty snug, which I suppose is a good thing. All right, then the AMS. Go ahead and set up here, and I need to make sure this is still in frame. Well, that would have been quite the unboxing. When I shifted the camera, I ended up turning it off. So you missed everything when I put the AMS in the back, but that's probably fine. We've got power to the printer now. Everything's been powered up. The AMS has been connected. So we're gonna go through and selecting our language. See, selecting our region, North America, network. I'm gonna go ahead and get logged in here. Okay, connected to the network. And now I'm gonna need to use the Bambu Handy app to go ahead and get logged in. But yeah, overall, that was a pretty quick, relatively painless unboxing experience. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything cleaned up, and then we'll start developing our profile. So that's it.